What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company. Our purpose? Enhancing America's infrastructure with a safety-driven, integrity-led culture that provides an environment for team members to grow and thrive. All right, welcome to another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast, and today's episode is coming from none other than Muscle Island with the founder, CEO, owner, creator of Muscle Island himself, Cory Gregory. G.
What's good?
We're smoking a cigar, looking at the lake.
Yes.
Beautiful day. The sun's shining, birds are chirping.
Yeah, it's a lot, like you said before we got on camera, like take it all in for a second. Cigars is fresh. First off, I just want to say like a heavy thank you to all the things that you've helped me with making this come true, Jake. It was funny because we were talking on the boat on the way over about like, helping each other out, and I didn't know I was helping you when I was. You're helping me right now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so like your skill set, R&R, you and Cody, and shout out Ryan Gerber too, have been tremendous in this entire process. There's no way I would be here without you guys. I just really appreciate it. I think that we're on the front side of a new whole way of operating on media and events with max effort and things of this nature. And it's like, I don't know, it's really exciting. I can see it all in my head already. I just can't wait for it to be able to touch it too. It's really exciting. So thank you, Jake.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. It's been a privilege to be a part of this process, be a part of Max Effort Muscle. I mean, I still remember that call in 2020 and you're like, hey, I got this.
Yeah, it was time to be business partners.
It was. And it all came back full circle after 10, 12 years of not having that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, we were kind of business partners when I was like 16, so almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But
in the MLM, I don't know if that counts.
No, that was more about me taking the life savings out and pissing it down my leg. But so I want to talk about something that you just touched on, because being able to visualize something that has never been done before and creating something never before done.
Sure.
So touch on that, because we've both done it.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize how powerful that was until I started to look into this business, and no one's ever created a business called the Iron and Infrastructure LLC. So just doing that in itself was kind of like, oh shit, never been done before in the history. You've done this a few times. So let's talk about being able to visualize something, going through the steps to get it, and then how do you feel when it actually comes through?
Yeah, that's I would say like as I've gotten older, I've been more in tune with that entire process. And maybe I did it a little bit on accident when I was younger because I believed in myself so much. But the reality is, I think when it comes, I think a lot of it comes with the discipline. When you're a disciplined person that this is step one, that is looking for that next kind of push. Because you got to kind of know where you're going, right? I didn't know it was here, but I was looking for an opportunity of something and came across this. And I think listening to your intuition is a huge part of it. There's all these like gurus and shit that talk about, manifestation and your antenna and all this type of stuff. You can call it whatever you want. But people have gut feelings, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. And most of the time in your life, if you listen to the gut feeling and you don't, it usually works out. And if you don't, you go back, man, I did think it was really supposed to be that way. So I think most people have that like base level intuition. I think I have this ability. It's always been this way for me. And I don't know why I've been so in tune with it. When I come into like something that I know is possible, all these things just start kind of showing themselves. And I started to learn that that's all for a reason. Now, it takes a lot of time, effort, and, perseverance to make them all the way true. But I would say the first one that really happened that way, besides the gym, and I was just so young, I don't think I could really tap into it. But like 8 or 10 years later, when I had my first magazine cover, I had visualized that so many times that when I actually picked it up at Barnes & Noble's the one day, it felt like I had already lived it. And I would tell you that when I walked in from where we docked the boat, when this thing was just a jungle, and I just stood in here and looked up at the canopy, and I thought, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And I could see, oh, this is my opportunity to do a container house. I got to have a gym here. I can't wait to have family and friends experience this. I could actually maybe have my own island. I don't care if it's fucking Ohio, Belize, Portugal, it doesn't matter. I was like, this is a real possibility. Because I could see it so clear, Jake, it was until someone says no, like financially or like it's just not possible for some reason, I'm doing it. I just made the decision that day. That's it. So I think that all-in mentality, being able to see it, and then on top of it, when it does come true and what I just explained to you off camera of what is about to happen here and how it's going to feel, I already know what it feels like. But I think that that's a cross-section in whatever you believe in, which, you know, universe, God, this and that. I think all of these things kind of happen. And when they do come true, which has happened multiple times in my life, it doesn't feel that unnormal, honestly. You know, it's out there for a lot of people.
It is. But
it keeps happening.
It does keep
so
happening.
I don't know what to say.
If something phenomenal happens one time, someone could call it an accident. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but
for sure,
whenever your life is a bunch of accidents of success, it's not an accident.
It leaves clues, bro.
Yeah, and you see certain people that get to a certain threshold and then expose themselves because they thought they were someone that they weren't. And I think that humble confidence, you know, keeping that mantra at the forefront of everything we do, because we're confident not because of our outcomes, but because of our intent and our effort.
Yeah, and the process.
The process. I think there's a big misconception there where being successful or being a business owner is not the reason that we are confident. That's a byproduct of who we are internally. And I think it all starts from the gym.
Oh, what? Yeah,
so
1,000,000%.
Everything, that foundation.
Yes.
You know, the iron built me. It built my infrastructure. That's why the name of the show is what it is. From 13-year-old kid with no confidence, couldn't read good, scared to take my shirt off in public, to think that I would be doing this today, of all freaking places. If you would have told me this a year ago, I would have laughed.
Well, and because you're kind of from this area, right? I didn't even know this like existed because I'm not from here. Right. So you are aware more so. So it's like, that probably has to, and then you going back to your school and speaking and things like that probably has to mean even more because you've been really successful close to where you grew up. And so I've never experienced that, right? So that's got to be crazy.
It's humbling, and it's humbling because my only success was dead or in jail by 21, you know, in high school. And I just remember being ridiculed and being an outcast and not fitting in anywhere. Now I understand why. Yep. So we talk about all the time about, you know, manifesting and making these things happen. But the true gratitude that I have now is my looking back and connecting all the dots. I didn't know the reason why I never pushed the sales for you at the beginning. And then Spike TV, Max Effort Muscle, what the hell are you doing with your life? And when you found a muscle farm, like, you were always good to me, pulling me out of the line at the Arnold to go walk around with you. And like, I didn't know it would lead to this. Yeah. And you probably didn't either when I was sitting on that tractor tire that day and you said, what the hell are you doing with your life? But that's where magic happens, because it's so rare that people actually pick up on that cue when they're called out and when they're put on the spot. I know you've done it a lot, and I've done it quite a bit myself now. And the ones that take that and run with it and don't feel insulted but are self-aware to know the dude's right. It's almost too, you think about like the coach that gets on the player because he knows how great it could be. I've also had this ability to feel that there's more, that I think there's more for somebody, whether or not it's like leading the horse to water, right? You know, you can't make it drink. So it's like, I like to try to, sometimes it might come off in a negative way, sometimes in a positive way, to speak that into somebody, or at least like make them think. And then, so here's what I think one of my purposes are in this life. Because I was able to experience what has happened to me, and I wasn't supposed to be here either, for sure, right? I think it's my duty to, if I have that feeling of somebody, that I have to speak that into them to see if they'll catch it. Yes. If they catch it, then I'm going to help them down the road. If they don't catch it, I can't, you know what I mean? So
I don't know. I say a lot of offhanded stuff to people to make them think. Sometimes it's just on accident. Sometimes it's on purpose. But it seems like people that get it will come back to me, and I've had it happen, like I mentioned most recently again. I don't know. It's definitely part. I think with what I'm building at Max Effort, what we're building as a team, it's like I think we can offer that to a lot of people, Jake, because people will get to interact and feel like I want people to come and walk and experience what I see in my head in person. There's no way they're going to leave here and not be more motivated. It's impossible, bro.
Yes. Yeah. Understanding that the person calling you out actually cares about you.
Yes.
And taking that with grace and being self-aware and vulnerable enough to know that you suck at something.
Yeah.
Like this whole media and content thing, I have absolute zero business being in this space.
My land developing is about the same level.
Right, yeah, I mean, agreed. But because of the confidence built over 20 or 30 years with the iron, the foundation set, the obstacles that we've had to overcome just in the weight room alone have created such a stamina for risk and chaos that it doesn't phase us. Like my heart rate doesn't go up because of a situation. I don't freak out when something happens. Everything now is kind of good, whether the situation's really bad or really good or great, stay even keeled, don't get too high, don't get too low, and love every day. The process, we talk about this all the time, the process, enjoying the journey. I took 12 years of time fantasizing about being able to wake up at 3 o'clock to go to the gym at 4 and work out without being disrupted by 6 a.m. 12 years I thought about that day, like, man, I cannot wait so I can go train this early and not have to be at the office at 4:30 or 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah, because to be on the job site, I got it.
Well, not only that, but even when I was in the ops seat, like
That's
at the office. Yep. And I remember for a while, I would come to OSG on my lunch break and get in like a half hour, and that was it.
Just trying to keep it together.
But all for this moment, all for this day, today, now. And you think about, I heard this the other day, it was sacrificing an elite life for being alone and miserable because you don't have internal gratitude for the thing. So if we did all this and had all this money and all these accolades, but did it alone by ourselves with no real purpose or passion to help other people,
doesn't feel the same.
The success criteria is not the ownership of the companies that we own. No. That's a byproduct of who we become. And understanding like the success is what you feel every day. Because how many people are miserable in life that are very successful financially?
Oh, tons, dude. Tons.
And so having the gratitude and the appreciation just for life in itself, man, like days like today, you can't buy this experience. Quite literally cannot buy it unless you're Cory Gregory. You're the only one that bought it. But like you cannot do this.
Yeah.
It can't be purchased. And so there's so much power in something that is not a financial input or output, but internally it's such a big reward.
This whole thing, what I love about it probably most is it reminded me that I'm this guy. And I think that we all need that healthy reminder that we need to push for how we want to be. Mm-hmm. We need to call the friends in that we've been creating relationships with to help when we need help. Dude, I've learned so much through this process about myself, about what I'm capable of, and then the guys that have helped, like specifically Tyler Sealover, the way he's grown up in this process too. Yeah, man, it's been a super blessing in the ideas that have come up for the other businesses from this process. Is this, so it's the stretch, it's what's the possibility. And I'll tell you guys, whenever you're in this mode, people do show up to help you.
They want to be a part of it.
They want to be a part of it. Yeah. And there's been some people that have come literally almost like they parachuted out of nowhere at the time I needed them. Mm-hmm. That is not by accident. That is the way.
That foundation was set 6 months to 6 years ago.
There is a set of rules on how this world works. And if you do not recognize them, your head is actually in this sand.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. I am not lucky. You are not lucky. This is intentional. Right. And it's difficult.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's rewarding because you're pursuing something that you know can have generational change. It can impact a lot of people. And It's I don't know. This whole process is just reminding me of that, and I think it's reminded some other people that are following along. Wait, we maybe haven't seen Gianni do anything like this, or maybe my last big move wasn't as public. That's why I wanted to really capture this, to show how much I don't know about what I'm doing, how I'm trying to find solutions, how I'm building fucking seawalls, me and Tyler with broken shit around here.
Here your chest waders, not 85 degrees.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking awesome though. Because the day I'm sitting on the porch smoking this fine cigar that I got from Arnold's roller, I'm going to be going, man, I remember when me and Tyler were in this shit show trying to do this. Like that's what makes it great, bro. So I think embracing the parts that are, hopefully they don't wash us away, embracing the parts that is like a perseverance situation, I think is part of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, having things isn't always that fun, but the pursuit to get them is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So right now, like, yeah, you're having some adversity, you're having some potential setbacks, but like this is still fun. This is just part of the story.
Oh, I think
this setback is going to make the end that much more epic.
I think it makes life way more interesting. Here's the thing is, I think when a lot of people pursue stuff, Jake, and look, it doesn't always work out everything the way, time frame, the way you want it to all the way. But I know that if I do a certain set of things and put a certain amount of energy and belief, that it's going to work out.
Yep.
And so it's already happened to me so many times. So the element of it not working doesn't seem like part of it anymore.
The only way it doesn't work is if you don't let it work.
Yeah, or if I just give up, which I'm not going to.
Which doesn't happen. That's failure. That's a failure to us.
Yeah.
So there are times where you're not giving up, but it's not what's best for you, and you got to adjust. But giving up on the pursuit when you're dialed in is never going to happen for us. Like that is not even something that we consider.
I don't even consider it. I think that one thing that I think that I'll have a lot of value in over the next few years, because I've been doing it for so long, is there's a lot of content out there right now about the small things every day. I'm literally the epitome of that, because I've done a certain amount of things for a really long time, and that's what's led me to be able to live this way. It's just what it is. Because I'm not that talented. I didn't have any fucking layups. Like, it's all earned, and I did have luck that was produced by hard work and people believing in me. And I'll take that all day long. But the reality is, I know how this happened. It is not by accident.
No.
But it started so long ago.
Yeah.
But the key is you can start tomorrow with a few things. And I think you're doing a really good job with your community of saying, just drink water, not pop. Just walk. Just do things that basics that can lead to this kind of mindset. Yep. So I think I want to commend you on that, because I think that's a really big part of it, Jake.
Well, I've seen the yo-yo diet, the crash diet, the motivational, speech, and the person that gets inspired. But motivation is temporary, dude. And you probably don't feel like getting up and doing what we do more times than not during the week.
For sure.
We don't even recognize it anymore. Like, it is not a conscious thought for me.
Because it's not negotiable.
You just do it.
It
doesn't even register anymore for me. Like, oh shit, I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah.
I just get up and go do it.
You just got to do it.
Yeah. It's just
the sooner you make that up in your mind, I think that's the better.
Yeah.
And it can start as basically as, like you were saying, like 5 push-ups, 5 squats. But I'm going to do that for 21. And then I'm going to add 10 minutes of walk. Yes. It's a habit. Yeah. But people will think, like, you think you're better than everyone. You're crazy. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're really just trying to take care of yourself. Meaning from a standpoint of, like, if I can take care of my body, my mind, and my ideas, and then it's going to be better for my family, the people I help, the things. Like, you can't help anyone else if you can't help yourself first.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just the truth.
And how can you be a leader if you cannot just, like, display discipline at every form of fashion? Like, we have our bodies. Our bodies and our minds are the $1 million racehorse.
Facts.
Are you going to feed a $1 million racehorse Mountain Dew and donuts for breakfast?
No.
No way in hell. Why
Although
would you
I
do
like
that
Mountain
yourself?
Dew and donuts, I'm just not going to do it. But I think that's the point. Yeah. Everyone likes Mountain Dew and donuts.
Yeah, but I like to feel good a lot better than I like to drink Mountain Dew, right? So, like,
Arnold said it best. Nothing tastes as good as being a champion.
Yeah, dude. That's true, though.
So people asked him a question about cheating on his diet. He said, I don't have to eat that. Nothing tastes as good as being a champion. 7-time Mr. Olympia tastes way better than that fucking apple pie.
Right. But at the end of the day, too, like, I eat whatever I want. I can eat whatever I want.
Yep.
That's a very bold statement. But I eat what I need to eat to perform well.
Yes.
Not what tastes good.
Yeah, 100%.
Success is what tastes good to me. That pizza is irrelevant. Now, we both know our bodies so well that we can do
moderation.
Yeah. I also think there's a component to this that is rarely talked about because it's misunderstood. We're smoking a cigar on the island. We drink some bourbon every once in a while.
Of course.
With all the discipline that we have, there has to be some dysfunction. I think Arnold said that.
Said it,
And that is one of the most true statements because I know I'm more dialed now than I've ever been because I'm balanced in that regard, where my whoop and my steps and my macro tracking is not a stressor to me. It used to stress me out if I didn't hit that.
Yeah.
Now I'm glad I did it because I learned, but it used to
course.
stress me out so much. Man, I got 500 extra calories I need to eat today. But it's like this split. And I was so dialed, but I wasn't dialed.
No, I think it takes that. That's why I like the guidelines better because then you're not concerned about that. You're just going on how you feel mostly, which sometimes can be right or wrong. But the reality is, I think it's an easier way to live.
So
Easier on your brain.
I don't diet. You don't diet. Whenever someone asks me for a diet plan, I tell them that they have the wrong mindset. This is a lifestyle. This is how we live.
Yeah.
We operate this way. Our weight might go up and down.
Yep.
Everyone, like we're not shredded all the time, right? There's times where we're going to have a little bit of extra, and that's okay. We know it.
Yeah, of course.
We don't feel any different about ourselves because it's not unintentional. Like it's part of the plan. Knowing though that I can go here, but I'm not going to go here.
Part of it's the education of it.
And I think that's where that stressor that I used to feel with the tracking and all that is no longer a stressor because my lifestyle complements what I want because of all the adversity in the past.
That makes sense.
So part of that foundation, with the iron is the continuous improvement part too.
Yeah.
So we never stop learning, dude. And I think that's the segue is the personal development and the learning. Like me and you were sitting here setting this up, talking about the camera and the focus and the water. And like 6 months ago, I couldn't have turned the camera on right.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So like it's such a learning curve, but that is what is so much fun.
I think that's why when you're like, hey, is Kyle going to be out there? I say, no, we can figure it out. I think it'll be fun. Just do it.
It has been fun. And this is a very cool experience we're shooting a podcast on Muscle Island.
So
right?
cool. Yeah, first one that you can plug into actual electric that you bored under the water.
Right.
Shout out R&R Pipeline.
Yeah. Shout out good planning and a little bit of luck, right? We'll take a little bit of luck
for sure.
Sometimes rather be lucky than good in that regard.
Well, I think through the process, you allow for luck to happen. And so when people say lucky this, lucky that, it might look that way, but it's really not that way, right? You just are going to get things that fall your direction because you're intentionally.
What Gary Player say?
Yeah, the harder I work, the luckier I get. I mean, and that's just the truth. And so I think it's really interesting because I would say these things are stronger sometimes than others. I think you can feel that too, like where those things are coming your way and then there's a period of time where they don't come your way. Mm-hmm. But it's like you really don't change the process. You just believe that it's going to come back your way again if you just keep doing these certain items. It's just really hard to believe in that when there's gaps where it feels really arduous. But once again, this is why I need a project like this every now and again. That's like, this is a once in a lifetime project. Yeah. It reminded me of a lot of things. And, I feel a lot of gratitude for it because once I got into it, I was like, man, this could be, here's the way I look at it. This is going to sound funny. I don't even think about right now at all. I'm thinking I'm about to be 46 years old. Obviously we take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. I hope I live to be fucking 90 or 100. I could be on this bitch for 50 years, bro. 50 fucking years. Like real talk. Like I think I can be a person that's older and have a good quality of life because of my lifestyle, barring no random ass diseases or whatever. But the reality is I'm looking at this as I could be on this bitch for 50. I mean,
But that's how you plan your life, right?
Yeah. I'm not normally a long-term like that normally, but as I've gotten older and with this, I know it's such a one-off type of thing. That's how I started looking at this shortly after I got into it.
Well, not only that, but like the discipline and the things that you've done to get to your physique in 46 years. Mm-hmm. You just went to New York and shot a magazine cover last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago.
Well, I hope it ends up with the cover, but I did an 8-hour shoot with Men's Health and on a high rise in New York City. It was pretty cool.
So how epic is that? So talk about that whole experience real quick.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like, so I told this to Trey. So Trayvon Dier, our camera, one of my camera guys, he went with me and he was like, we landed and I said, Trey, In 1999, I came here, my first modeling trip, to try to work with Men's Health.
It's wild.
He
Was
looked
that
at-
the first one?
That was the first one. And I met with Men's Health, but I was too young. They only work with like guys in their 40s or whatever, right? Because that's their brand. I didn't realize that at the time because I was so young. He looked at me and he goes, gee, I was born in 1999. I said, Trey, I've been trying to do this. Well, it's happening today. They're bringing me to New York, shooting me for 7-8 hours, high rise, Men's Health. Granted, I'm going to be basically one of their main guys for 25 years, and it's happening right now.
Yeah.
As long as you've been alive, I've been trying to pursue this situation. So, yeah, it felt really cool. I had a lot of people, including Coach Storms from Florida State, the strength coach there. He said, man, getting ready for a shoot at almost 46 has got to feel awesome. And you
don't expect anything different, though. I know
no,
how
it
you're
didn't really
operating.
feel that out of character for me, to be honest. But what I was upset about is because of my own expectation, I really wanted a month more. I called him and said, hey, I would like a little bit more prep time, because when they called me, I was like 205. Yeah. I really needed to go to 180 and come back up to 185. But whatever, I weighed 185. It was good. They were happy with it.
Oh, you're still diced up.
I was still diced up, but it's like more like just the way that I, operate. But because I always think about, here's what's wild. I'm going into one of I feel like my best opportunities, especially in the last couple of years probably. And I felt like I was 80%. But to them, it was okay. But in me, inside, I was like, fuck, man. I should be coming in this bitch. I could be as diced as ever any day of the week, but it just isn't how I did make the time frame. I think I made really quality content. All in all, it was really good. It was a great accomplishment.
Well, dude, everything we do is a learning experience in itself, whether we win the thing or, kind of lose at it or don't get what we want, we still learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
And I think facing your fears is such a well-known and talked about thing, but is so powerful.
It's very powerful.
For me, and this endeavor right here is facing every fear of my life in one shot. And to think that even a year ago at this point, the podcast I don't even think was put together yet.
Yeah, you didn't even start yet.
And it didn't release till like November. And it wasn't until I think September of last year, you're like, you need to get that done because you're going to go be a guest on this other show.
Yes.
The Entrepreneur Relief with Rob Dubay, which you went on as well.
Yeah, Rob's awesome.
And you're like, you need to get that done. That way you promote your show and actually have something out.
Yeah, it gave you like a little deadline.
So quit writing the book like the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm in there recording.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm glad I put a few reps in before actually going on that show and
you
actually releasing. Them. God, I needed them bad. The first episode, you had to take it to commercial break.
That was amazing.
I actually have that being clipped out now to put out there.
It's so
because
good. It shows the process.
I had no idea what Treadway was doing over there waving his arm, and I wasn't even paying attention to him. Like, I didn't know that. And you're like, I see you like getting tense as I watch the video, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing?
I was like, Jake, you gonna take it to break? The camera's about to shut off or something like that.
And I had no idea what was going on, but that's just part of the process, and just being willing to face it, dude.
I didn't think it was a big deal at all. I mean, the funny thing is that I think that I've learned from podcasting for so long that I literally would just do it how if it was just me and you. And that is literally how the approach I've taken, because I remember there's been times where we were doing like a kind of a serious show and like I literally just had to get up and go do something real quick and came back. Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Like, I mean, people don't want to overproduce stuff anyway.
Right.
And so I think that is a cool clip that you'll be able to look back on, as you're into this, and you've gotten much better and much more comfortable, and you're getting feedback, which feeds the oxygen for this thing, which I've had for years too, and it's awesome. Which is why I'm excited to take a little breather. I'm really have only recorded with you.
Yeah.
I haven't done any other shows.
We've
maybe
done
one
5
other
or so
one.
episodes, maybe 10, yeah.
And so now when I relaunch what I'm going to work on with the island when it's done, then I feel like it'll get a chance to run again. So it's exciting. It's exciting to take a little step back and then redo something else.
Well, kind of back to the confidence. Like I don't link my confidence to the ability to do something, because an outcome can go bad if you have full intent and effort put into place.
For sure.
Like, just because our intentions are good and our effort is maxed out doesn't mean the outcome comes through. So if you link it to ability and then the outcome's a failure, then what do you have at the end of that?
Yeah.
You can't sit there and be confident about your pursuit if you fail at the thing and that's your measurable.
For sure.
So regardless of outcome, I'm confident in everything that I do because I know that my intention is to help other people.
Yep.
And I want to help other people by showing them opportunity they can't yet see. Kind of like what you said earlier. So
Huge.
inspire people to believe in themselves enough to see an opportunity that I can see for them based on a skill set, an accolade, something they've done, grit, whatever it may be.
You can see it because you've already experienced it, Jake. And that's what a lot of people, when I see or feel things, I'm like, it's because I've already went through it. Or somebody saw it in me and I caught it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of people that have spoke a lot of confidence into me, you know what I mean, to make me recognize. And there's other guys that I could tell they were doing the opposite because they were threatened.
Yep.
And I caught on that too. So I think that look, I've been in business for 25 years. I've seen a lot of different things, and I'm soon to see even more probably. But I think there's been a lot of lessons that I've carried on, and I think that the biggest one is that if my intention is proper and my work ethic is there, and I believe in where I'm going, I'll get there. It's just the time frame is never guaranteed. Sometimes it's going to be faster, sometimes it's going to be slower.
Yep.
I'll take the Nerf hoop alley-oops, but they just don't, you can't expect them. They're going to come when they come, man. And that's hard for people to deal with.
And just knowing that, like, life is a highway. Like, our success criteria is a highway. The highway is success, though. So, like, driving down this daily highway is a success. Every day, there's an exit ramp that is a failure. Yeah. And it's easy to take it. And right when things are the hardest, like you're out here in your chest weights, you're building this, like,
rinky-dink
wall just to keep the waves from coming up on. And, like, you're doing all this shit, and you're probably out here thinking, like, what the hell am I doing?
Bro, I'm picking up them rocks. I'm like, fuck, man.
But that's right when the progress and the breakthrough happens. And you know that as well as I do. I forget the name of the guy that was 3 feet away from gold and quit digging.
Oh, yeah, the Napoleon Hill book.
Yeah, so Think and Grow Rich. And he was right there. But then that guy learned from that also and went into becoming an insurance guru.
And he still ended up killing it.
And he still killed it because he learned from that lesson. So even though he took that failure exit ramp, he stayed on that highway to success and continued to thrive.
It's one of those things where I just think, like, it can go from me doing that to what you said the ground could look like in a couple days if somebody worked on it, to where we're going to be barging over this house. Like, it was a little bit weird doing that and feeling a little bit, beat up on just like the process of it not being where it's at. And then driving over to R&R and seeing the house being dropped off, that was kind of a weird day because it was like two real kind of extremes.
Up and down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But also, once again, part of like the life I signed up for was something unique, different. I'm going to constantly push. And I even had Tyler said, I really appreciate the push, G. The push is inspiring.
Persistent patience, man.
Yeah,
that's my life motto.
The patience part's the hard part.
It is. And we are not patient by nature. We had to be patient by...
No. You get humbled real quick if you're not patient, honestly.
Yeah. And the reason that I call it persistent patience is because persistent my pursuit, but patient with the result. And why is that? 5 years ago today, and Cody bought R&R Pipeline. So this time 5 years ago, I was getting ready to sign papers that completely changed my life forever. And what I thought was going to be the Mount Everest and the success by signing the papers and being this owner of a company, the success wasn't signing the papers. It wasn't being the owner. I didn't realize it then.
Yeah.
The pursuit was the success, the person I became. But I learned patience in a way that was so painful at the time. We were supposed to close December 31st of 2018.
Okay.
And we were probably December 1st or 2nd, the bank drops us, right? So the bank,
love those calls.
We had a guaranteed letter, things in place, like everything was set, and we got dropped. We started from scratch again, and it's like, what the hell?
It's such a process.
So when that happened, we're sitting at the table with Jim Havens, and he says, "Man, isn't this fun?" And I was so like irate at that point because I'm like, we're all in.
I said that to Tyler when we were knee deep in the mud the other day.
But gee, it was fun.
I know.
And you were serious when you probably said it the other day because it is a part of the process and a point in time where you will talk about it later. Like it's a memory before it's even a memory.
1,000,000%. And
when he said, "Isn't this fun?" I mean, I was white knuckled, about to beat up an old man in the room at R&R Pipeline, and then I just.
But he'd been there before, so he knew.
And he just processed. He's like, just process it, and I did. I processed, and I thought, you know what? I will never be in this situation again. as long as I live.
Yeah.
Because I'm all in, I'm vulnerable. I have literally nothing left to give. There's 30 seconds left in the 12th round of this boxing match, and I've got my ass handed to me every round.
And what are you going to do?
But there's 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
And am I going to lay down and cry about it, or am I going to get up and fight back? And we got up and we fought back, and we ended up knocking it out and winning. But the patience part of that process was that 4 months. Because the 4 months of time that we ended up having to get another banking line, get the deal done, get it closed, was probably the best thing that happened to the business venture since. Because had we started the business out fresh on January 1 like we were supposed to, we might not be sitting here today, because the situation was so much different in May. And for that, I went persistent but patient.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where you want it so bad in that moment, but for some reason it just wasn't supposed to happen that way.
It wasn't meant to be.
And people can say a million things. Well, you know, this and that and all these cliche things, but I mean, it's just what it is. You know what I mean? You did everything in your power and you couldn't change it, right? That's why I remember when we were working on one of the processes here, we were up against a wall, and I looked at Tyler and I said, we cannot at this point in time literally do anything else. Literally, me and
we
you
talked about that last
have
year.
tried everything. And so I'm okay if it doesn't meet the timeline, because I literally can't do anything else. We've called everybody. We've asked everything. We've did everything. We've done all the paperwork. It's like, and then 2 days later, it just happened. And it was like, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, I honestly think because I said that out loud, and we literally we literally tried our best. And there is points of time like that.
Just knowing that you're giving it everything you have, and if you push any harder, you're going to make something bad.
You're going to make a mistake out of it, and you're going to cut a corner. You're going to do something just to reach it. So yeah, I would agree with that. That's hard. That's hard to acknowledge, though.
It is, and it's just like, I mean, let's go right back to the weights. That's our foundation.
It's true.
How many times have you cut a plan short to chase a PR and get hurt?
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing. Like, we both done it. I remember the squat video of you at Old School Gym for the last time. You put a hole in a wall and you punched the wall. Like, you were fucked up for 2 months after that.
I was. It wasn't smart.
But you would probably do it again.
Yeah, I would.
But like, there's a time and place for certain things that happen.
For sure.
And so I want to go to this part too.
There's a time to go wheels off, go to the hospital, and but it's not all the time.
Not all the time. And being able to scale that and understand, I'm going to swallow my pride today to do what I want in the future, because today isn't today. And I know, like, the pec injury that I had 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago now.
2 years ago.
So just about this time, 2 years ago, you're doing a documentary, the meet and Dayton.
Oh yeah.
And I
meet
was
and
so
the bodybuilding
pumped
show
to compete.
Yeah.
For the first time in a powerlifting meet with the crew, and I was a cheerleader wrapping knees.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
you were, and you did really well at it too.
I wrapped Kyle's and I wrapped Tyler's, and they both got world records that day, I think.
You did Callahan's, didn't you?
Or Callahan,
Callahan's, yeah.
Callahan and
700.
Tyler Olds. And I remember Callahan was like, man, put me in a cast. I'm like,
and he fucking smoked it too.
He did, dude. 700 went up easier than like 660 did.
It was easy. It was awesome.
I still got to be a part of it. Even though I was on the sidelines, I got to experience that.
Bro, for the rest of your life, you're never going to forget that rap.
The reason that was so impactful for me, though, I didn't understand. And just like this right now, connecting the dots is always something you do when you're able to see all the dots and then you look back.
Yeah, sure.
I did not understand at that point that happened for a reason. Because in September, I got to go do my powerlifting meet at Alpha.
Yep.
And it was sentimental value that I got there.
Yeah.
Because that's where Mason trained. Like, there was so much sentimental value there for me to be able to do that platform. I would have never competed there had I competed earlier in the year.
That's true.
And I have the most epic, like, story with that, and shame and disgust with it also, because it was your birthday.
Yeah.
I think it was on your actual birthday. And you came there just to see me and to wrap my knees.
Yep.
I still missed a squat.
Yeah. I remember that now.
So I got called for depth on 460, I think my second, third attempt.
Yeah.
I opened to 410 and I smoked it easy. This was after, I think, 12 weeks of rehab too. I only squatted, I think, 5 or 6 times in 6 months going into that meet. I was planning on hitting 500 that day, and it didn't work out. And everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
Facts.
I got punched hard. Like, I was ashamed because You came to wrap my knees, and then you had to go.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you went out of your way, like, told me everything about you and our friendship and whatnot.
I
On
forgot it
your
was
damn
my birthday, but it
Yeah.
was my birthday because I remember Josh, who owns the gym, told me happy birthday when I came in. That's funny.
And I missed that
But you know what's so
squat.
funny is that didn't even seem like a big deal. I'm glad that you took it that way.
dude,
but to me, it
it's-
was just like, Jake's actually on the platform. I
Right.
got to go.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, I could have dwelled on that,
Yeah.
but like MJ, Kobe, what they talk about when they shoot and miss, it doesn't even register. They shoot again. So
To
I
me,
could
you
have
still
dwelled on it.
completed a meet.
I could have dwelled on it, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I had not benched over 350 since I tore that pec. So I don't know, it was February or so when I tore the pec, and then this is September. I just came back into any type of health.
Yeah.
And I was having a ton of issues. I didn't train for 2 weeks before that meet. I don't even know if I told you this. My CNS literally crashed completely. I had to go sit in an oxygen chamber.
After?
Derek Myers,
Oh.
the week before leading
Oh.
up to, every day for an hour, I went and sat in an oxygen chamber.
I've been in his chamber.
Because I
It's
was
cool.
like, I was dying. My CNS, I couldn't even lift weights, dude. It was like I was a train wreck. And I went on vacation like 3 weeks before.
What'd you end up benching?
Well, I could have dwelled on it,
Yeah.
right? So I'm getting there. So I didn't bench over 350, and then I bomb out on my second. Well, I didn't bomb out, but I missed my second, third squat attempt. And I left that platform after the third squat, and I went and took a nap. I went back because Tony Ramos said, conserve your energy. You're going to see all these guys hyped up. By the time they get to the deadlift, they're not going to be able to lift the damn bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, I always took a nap after every lift and had someone wake me up. And
It's good.
I thought, like, I got to get all hyped up, and I didn't on the squat. And I realized at that point, like, I was not ready for that squat. So I got ready for the bench, and I ended up benching 410.
Yeah, which
was a P, obviously a lifetime
Yeah.
meet PR. I had done some bench only meets at Westside, on Sunday mornings, but
Yeah.
I hadn't benched over 350 since tearing that pec.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I
it'd
don't
been
think I
almost a
realized that.
year,
Yeah.
probably since I'd really benched like 400 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come back stronger than I'd ever been before.
Yeah.
So I ended up pulling, I think, 560,
yeah, which is a
550 or
solid push
560,
pull, bro.
and then 410 on the bench. So the most epic experience for me was squatting and benching the same amount in my first powerlifting meet. And like, I laugh at it, you laugh at it, and it's a fucking catastrophe as
so
far as a
amazing.
joke, but like, it's
You're
part
not
of it.
going to forget that one because
No,
of that.
I'll never forget it. I couldn't do it again if I tried, I'm
That's so
sure.
funny.
Dude, I know. So, but it's just part of it. Like,
It is part
being
of it.
able to laugh at yourself, be vulnerable. Dude,
But you got to be able to push yourself out there just to even like have a story like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, you probably would remember it less if you squatted 600.
probably. So,
It's pretty funny.
Unfaced fears end up becoming our limitations in life. Mm-hmm. So you think about something that you're scared to face, any type of adversity, anything that you've come up against that you were scared to do, and you didn't face it, it becomes your ceiling. It really weighs you down so much, and it's so like not thought about. But when that fear is right in front of you, there's a power in just taking it, wrapping your arm around it. Recognize it's there. It's okay to be fearful, right? But you can't be afraid.
Well, and it's the same thing. I always say, like, this project's a good example. Like, me, like anything that's construction based, I'm like, I can't make anything square. I never picked up. My family built, not only was miners, but some of them were construction. Like, they were always like doing stuff like that. I just never picked up any of it. But I never really was forced into it. Mm-hmm. And in this one, I knew I was going to be to a certain point, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit, because people were like, you don't know about this and know about that. I'm like, yeah, and it's a little bit scary, but I'm not really scared of it. And I think when I took that approach, that was like, like me and Tyler talk about it all the time. We literally were like, okay, where do we start? You know what I mean? But I knew if I came here with a weed eater, some fucking hedge trimmers, and a rake, I had to start there. And I just had to make the first path.
Like for me, I call it Pursuit 151. I don't know if I told you this or not yet, but so you have 100 shares of confidence and 100 shares of commitment.
Okay.
So Pursuit
like that.
Pursuit 151 is being 100% committed. So
Yeah.
when you're in pursuit of something, you have to be 100% committed.
That's fact.
All in. 51% confidence is enough, in my opinion, to push forward. If you have at least 51% confidence, and I learned this from this podcast, I was 100% committed because I knew the value it could potentially
Yeah.
bring to other people. But to say that I was confident in anything, I wasn't even confident being in front of a camera, talking on a microphone.
You
I
were
wasn't
confident in your
confident in
commercial
talking in
break.
general. I couldn't take it to a commercial break.
So good.
I had no idea what Tyler was doing. I thought, man, why is he being a cheerleader over there? Am I knocking it out, the park out good? Am I that good of a podcaster on episode 1? Like, it was a shit show.
We're so good.
But I was 51% confident.
Yeah.
Because of you, Tyler, the people around me.
Yeah, we're saying you need to do this. You
Yeah.
just needed to get the reps out of the way as fast as possible,
Right.
bro.
And I could have never expected everything that's happened since then.
Yeah.
But I was 100% committed because of my intent, and my effort led me to become confident enough to do it.
Sure.
I'm still probably 80% confident at best, but confidence comes with commitment, dude.
Well, and also reps, dude. Like reps in anything, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like this right here we're sitting on is one major fucking rep with a bunch of little ones on the inside of it. And now if you told me, hey, there's just this regular piece of land, G, and you got to develop it, I'd be like, I picked the hardest one first. We're good. Like,
Yeah, I think you started out with a banger.
fuck, bro.
Yeah. But just like you said before, it's not what you're individually confident in. It's the team of people you put around
Yeah.
you that help boost that confidence to the next level.
Tons.
Like, there's been so many different components to this and so many different layers. And you've had people around you that not only support you, but want to help you,
Yeah.
care enough about you to help you, and are willing to reach out in their network. So
Yes.
when you establish your team, dude,
It changes everything.
anything is possible.
Well, and I think it goes back to really trying to add value to others without ever expectation back. And then there is days when you need to call those in. Guys want to go out of their way because
Yeah.
if you don't really ask for people for much, they're like, oh, wait, G's actually needs something. I'm going to over deliver for him. And you never do that with intention. Well, you shouldn't. But if you just operate that way, everyone has somebody around them that just seems like they're always helping other people, right? It's just what it is. There's always an old guy in your town
Yep.
that seems like he's always the dude coming over to mow the
Yep.
lady's grass because of this or that.
Yep.
If you just operate that way, with it, I just think it ends up putting you in a good position for when you need it.
Provide value with no
Yeah.
expectation
It's
of
so
return.
big. It's
Man,
so
that-
big.
And that is such a talked about thing or untalked about thing, because value in the marketplace is what's perceived and received to people, right?
Yeah,
So
you're right.
your training value isn't what you individually have done. It's what you've been able to do individually to impact other people.
Yes.
So if you go out on your own and have this big success criteria with 11 magazine covers, all these powerlifting, records and all the stuff that you've done, your accomplishments are so high, but the true accomplishment in the marketplace is the value you've created for other people.
100%.
So understanding
Through my
this,
pursuit and curiosity to push myself, and then putting stuff together, it impacts others.
yeah, and that's where providing the value in the marketplace is so impactful. Everything that you've done is a byproduct of your passion to help other people because of that foundational adversity.
Yeah.
We've all had it like this. That's what this podcast is all about. I want to help other people create a foundation of strength, create infrastructure for themselves to figure out individual success criteria to create value for others, because that's the ultimate driver of everything. This episode is brought to you by Max Effort Muscle. For all your supplement needs, go to maxeffortmuscle.com.